Got my jacket on this morning. I don't know what happened.
I didn't notice. I was just we are live.
Okay.
Can I get away with that
It
too?
wasn't planned, it was just a brain freeze. That occurred for it, but welcome to the Riley County February 6th commission meeting. Please join the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We could take off our jacket.
That's what I'm thinking, just forget them too, throw them on the ground. I don't know where it went, no idea.
You've seen that sign on the storage units out. So on Fort Riley Boulevard, it says my brain has too many tabs open.
Yeah.
I don't have those days.
Yeah.
I don't get, I so many tabs up that I don't get anything done, but, any public comment? All right, let's start with commissioners.
Okay, well, it's for me, it's been a pretty busy week at work, but I'm caught up finally, at least for a day. And then I'll probably have to open up a whole bunch more tabs again and work through it, so. Tuesday afternoon, I met with John Ellerman, Riley County Public Works Director and Engineer, to discuss some key components of his department. Thoughts and discussions, some programs and efforts and work being done, and just an overall summary of 2024 and what to expect here in 2025. So this is the first department head dialogue of the year, so I'm planning to get around to everybody in the first quarter of 2025. That's my goal. Tuesday evening, watch the K-State men's basketball team come back from behind and win a thriller in Tempe. I don't, kind of glad they didn't win in a blowout because, you know, what's on the horizon here Saturday, but yeah, at least they won. They evened their record out at 11-11, so that's all right. So let's just get it done Saturday. That's all I can say. Wednesday afternoon, I listened in on the National Association of Counties webinar titled Chart Your Course. It's a learning resource for counties and their county workforce. It was designed to provide valuable insight on AI, cybersecurity, exciting new learning programs. This course will maximize valuable training for county employees, explore areas of general knowledge, IT skills, business analytics, and can tailor specific training paths for many different areas and help employees embark on professional development within those prerogatives as well. Christopher Williams, Senior Product Manager, learned for organization and skills first initiatives. I tried to break that down into an acronym, but it didn't come out very well. So he does this work for Microsoft. And then Rita Reynolds, Chief Information Officer and Managing Director, County's Tech Exchange Program, were the guest speakers on that webinar. Also, Wednesday afternoon, there was a second of the Expo 25 public events hosted by the MPO at the Public Library for the city of Manhattan. This is the last one, as you recall, was in the city of Ogden, but these are a series of meetings to help inform and educate the public on what the plan is and what it's going to look like and accomplish moving forward. Gives the public a chance to interact and ask questions and have concerns met and so on and so forth. I think there's two of them. Another one here in the city, and then I think another one kind of over Blue Township over the community center, I think is where it is. I have to look at the card on that one. Also, last night I met with a concerned group of citizens at QW for dinner to discuss some real-time legislative items, including the 3 mile bill, the rural city radius thing, concerns they have on RHID came up in that conversation as well, and some of those like-minded programs along with it. Our recent nuisance abatement acts, and maybe they heard that on the radio too. I'm not for sure that came up, and just a few conversations on some various other things. Went well, just had the opportunity to answer some key questions and just solve some of the misinformation that was obviously pushed forward some point. I did tell them too that, you know, anytime they can catch the live stream on YouTube and for any further clarifications along the way as well. And then somehow I got my ESPN Plus account working again. And so I was able to watch the girls play TCU last night. I was hard fought game. I guess you're talking about 2 top 10 teams. I guess that's the way it should go. So, but Cats came out ahead and on top of the Big 12 at this point in time. So good for them. So, and for me, that's all I got.
So did you go to the evening? What was it, EMPO?
Mhm.
That was the afternoon one.
Oh, okay, no,
And there was hardly anybody there.
no, I figured if you get about a half a dozen people kind of trudging along there, but I'm glad that they're doing that because. You know, each time you make a change to that plan, you have to amend it and then you have to put it out for public view and public comment. So it gives everybody a chance up front to kind of look at that first, so, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see, Monday night, I took Diane Creek over to the Keats Lions Club meeting at their community meeting room. I introduced her and then had her speak with people there about the services, the health department, and how we could do some health outreach to rural communities in Riley County. And then she handed out brochures that outlined various programs they provided. She engaged the people that were there on what they would want her to do at their various events. And some of the events mentioned were the Soup Supper on February 8th and the Fall Festival in October. They thought it'd be a good idea for her to be there and bring a few people with her. So it was really good discussion and they really appreciated meeting her and giving her some ideas. So it was good it was really a good meeting. So yesterday I attended the military relations luncheon at the Manhattan Conference Center. Speaker was Lieutenant Colonel Dana Graff, the deputy commander of 130th Field Artillery Brigade of the National Guard. And so he talked about the different things that the National Guard do, and I guess they're located in headquarters is in Manhattan. Upcoming events were announced and listed on the back of the program. Next meeting that they're having is March 5th, with location to be determined. They do have their annual the annual meeting is a 100-year celebration, which is February 7th. And February 12th, the business after hours, which is going to be hosted by WTC Fiber. And it's at the new foundation building. So there are a few other things coming up, but that's all I have.
Well, I went to the MPO meeting with one, well, actually, so that day yesterday. Jared said they had large crowds at Green Valley and Junction City when they did it, and this one was 5 people.
I think I counted maybe a dozen the last evening.
Self, Adam, Jack, city commissioner, a civil engineer from local place, and then 2 residents. They presented some of the projects that have been completed, and then also showing what the future plans are. Somebody brought up a good discussion about the bridge to Pot County and improvements that could be done to the existing road would be more valuable than affordable.
It's a novel idea.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And Jared explained the biggest thing in a lot of these planning these projects is how the funding will be made, or can you get federal or state money? Otherwise, it's too expensive.
Or maybe in this case, just state money at this point.
Yeah. And well, a lot of the state money is federal money because of the state.
It's exchanged, yeah.
But it was a good discussion. People had a lot of good questions on it. It was a good deal. Then, as you mentioned, the men's game Tuesday, when starting out 15-0 on the wrong side of that, you don't win too many games. But and then last night the women's played the number 9 team, and it was a tough game back and forth. In the end, they pulled away and went by 9. But it was an exciting game. The crowd had a pretty good sized crowd there too. 7,200. It was very into it. It was loud. And that's all I've got.
Ready for business, commissioners? First item we have is the letter of support for community wildfire defense grant.
Second.
Commissioners, Michelle Bushmeyer, Raleigh County Fire District number 1 and Emergency Management. Russell's currently in a meeting, so he asked me to do this. Sorry. First time. So the purpose of this letter of support is for you guys to give our support in applying for the community wildfire defense grant. We're currently doing the application, and we should be hopefully finished with it by the end of next week. And we're asking for a letter of support for the mitigation that we're recommending for Baldwin Park area. You guys have any questions? You need a copy of the letter. Yeah, a copy.
We got a copy of it.
Okay,
Any problems?
Okay with it. I would make a motion to approve a letter of support for the community wildfire defense grant application.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the letter of support for community wildfire defense grant application. All in favor?
Aye.
All three signed. Thank you, Michelle.
thank you.
Commissioners have the tax roll corrections.
I make a motion then to approve the tax roll corrections as written.
I would second that.
Been moved and moved and seconded to approve the tax roll corrections as presented. On favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign. Next, Commissioners, I have Riley County Employee Action Forms, Curtis Hazlet, volunteer firefighter, Fire District Number 1, Separation Service, Ruth Ott, Medical Clerk, Health Department, Separation Service, Robert Cox, new hire, Emergency Management Planner 1, Emergency Management Department, and Rachel White, Human Resources Clerk Assistant, Clerk's Department, Separation Service. All three, please sign.
Next, commissioners, I have payroll and accounts payable.
Go ahead and make a motion to approve payroll and accounts payable.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve payroll and accounts payable. All in favor?
Aye.
All three, please sign. Any changes in minutes, commissioners?
Okay, I would make a motion to approve the February 3rd, 2025, Fourth County Commissioners minutes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the February 3rd meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
No tentative agendas, look, commissioners. Good. Any items for next week's press conference? Okay. No, we have Miss Elizabeth Ward at 9 o'clock, commissioners. How you done? Back waters. A place, they got a big apple somewhere, that, and they had a big field where they stored them. Come in and buy it. Scott can hire you to get experience when he opens up his apple barns. Sold apples.
Sold apples?
Yeah,
I bought apples.
and then I cut tombstones. I do that.
I bought apples once off of a descendant of Johnny Appleseed.
Oh, yeah.
I kid you not. The guy was like an investment banker over, and he lived on the outskirts of Kansas City. And then he decided he had made enough money. He's like, I don't care about this anymore. I want to grow my own apples. And he told me all about being a descendant of Johnny Appleseed.
And that's why he charged you 4 times the normal price and you just took it.
You got started with it, Rich. It's pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's right. They weren't even that good.
Oh, shoot.
I'm excited for him to get that farm going. That'll be interesting. That orchard, that'll be a nice addition to the community. It will be. Fall festivals and stuff, and apple cider and all that. That'd be cool to have that around here. Of a boom in economic development in Riley, Kansas.
No, we moved there, that downtown was the bank and the insurance company.
Mhm.
You know, now most everything, well, it was full for a while and then the Pete's place closed, but
Mhm.
the lumberyard went out, somebody came in. And they
Yeah.
went out
Well, I was,
with woodworking.
that was a nice little
Place.
thing in that wood place, and now who's in there?
I don't know who owns it, they just use it, I think, for storage.
Gotcha.
Except the lot behind it, the other people still have a pile full of logs that they haven't cut.
Yeah,
Cause
that's,
they moved, I don't know how they did it, they moved it, it's in Manhattan.
it is. I talked to them because they cut me I had a cherry tree I cut down and they cut it to shape for me, just cut it down because I wanted to save the log. And so yeah, I don't know, but that's kind of, it's too bad. It was okay when they were there using it, but now it's just kind of an eyesore, so they're not there. And that
So
stuff,
it's cleaned up, their stuff would pile clear out in the street.
that stuff just attracts rodents and rodents attract snakes.
The MPO, didn't you get that card? It's a card they sent out, but
Well,
it wasn't a presentation, they just had a bunch of stuff there and just talked about it, they didn't have. He said at some of the bigger groups, they ended up giving a presentation, but they were just talking to the people.
I got it, but I didn't play it. What time was it?
I was 11. One I went to was 11, and there was another one at 5 or 6. And then there was, like I said, there'd been one in Green Valley and one in Junction City and Ogden. There's one in Montego at one point.
Oh, maybe we'll have it.
I think there's still a couple left, but
I'll have to look for that card. I thought I put it, and then I checked it, and on Wednesday, I had 2 meetings yesterday, and I didn't feel the time.
Say, go ahead and get it there, and start.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. Elizabeth Ward, Human Resources Director. And I'm here for my monthly update, and then I do have a couple minutes to at least fill it as needed position at the end. So, all right, so we kind of just do the same thing every month. You'll notice I updated my presentation background. So this is in line with the logo policy, and I had not realized that I was not in line with the logo policy, but luckily I didn't caught that. So current head count, we've got 282. Now we're starting a new year, so you'll see all the numbers are exactly the same for month and year. So we've had 2 new hires and 3 separations so far. Over on the seasonal, we've got a 364 and just 1 separation. Some of those that you signed recently probably aren't reflected in there because they haven't been processed. Our turnover and our tenure have stayed about the same. That's always a 12-month rolling, so that can adjust each month. And we do have only 3 positions open as of yesterday, so that there's a position open in the clerk office, ARCS, and then in the MRC unit, which is under public health emergency response. Some of the things that we've been doing for performance and development, we're still continuing that highly effective managers training. We've talked about that a couple of times. We are starting discussions for Employee Day 2025. So we're kind of looking forward to some themes and things with that. They're also, that same committee is discussing training needs at Riley County. So thinking about what it is that we need to be focusing on. And it kind of goes together with Employee Day. A lot of times we'll try to do something over the year that then we can culminate or bring together at Employee Day. And that onboarding committee is developing their phase 2. They made some improvements last year, added some IT and some hands-on components. And so they are working together to figure out what it is to really make people feel welcome and a part of the team as quickly as possible at Riley County. I'm excited about these programs, which Michelle is heading up. So this Capers retirement seminar. So anyone that thinks that they may be retiring in the next 3 to 5 years, it's not a commitment. It's not we're not picking a list.
I see you smiling over there.
Michelle's already banned Rich from attending, so.
Okay.
But we do have someone coming specifically from Capers, and then the clerk has agreed to help us make it a breakfast learn and a lunch and learn, so that, you know, we know that always helps kind of grease the wheels a little bit.
Food entices people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Food and drink, and we just have to stay with the
And
food part.
retirement.
In retirement, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good combo. So we're excited about that. And then I'm also excited that the Capers is reinitiating or restarting up the meetings for the advisory council. And Michelle has been appointed to represent county employers. And they, you know, some of the things they've talked about in the past are just kind of across the board, anything that has to do with Capers. And Michelle was kind of told yesterday or the day before that there were some things that have been discussed and coming up. And then also whether or not Capers really meeting the needs of the employees and the way that we have it set up with the 1, 2, and 3. So hopefully we can see some progress with that. Our current projects, so we have finished the W-2s and 1095s. They are available in Paylocity and in SHEP for all employees. They also have been put in the mail. The requirement is that they're mailed or delivered by the 31st of January, or not delivered, but sent out by the 31st of January. A lot of people haven't gotten them, regular mail, but anyone can get them electronically. And so we are fielding a lot of calls for that, but just in case anyone has that question. Michelle's still working on the FMLA filing system overhaul, and really that's in the planning stages, but she has made a lot of movement to make things less paper copy and more electronic, which has obviously been easier to access for different people. Brittany and I are drafting the 2026 pay scale rates. We needed to have some projections in place in order to start working with the grant funded positions. So we're already starting to look at those, and it's no changes. It'll stay with the same process and policy that we currently have, but I'm starting to put that together. And then we have been working quite a bit with all the grant funded personnel prep, and then Brittany as well on the rest of the budget. So we've been working with community corrections and the health department primarily, and then the health department has, I don't even know, they have 6 divisions, but some of those have multiple personnel budgets within each because they're different grant funded through different processes. So you will be seeing those presentations in March and requests for budget support.
We are still spending a lot of time with the health department and working closely with Diane and her supervisors, and that has been continuing to go well. And then obviously with all the talk about the policy changes at the federal level, we're looking at those changes and how they affect the state, and then us as well. And pretty much every morning we're scanning any announcements, any news, because a lot of these things, it's all interpretation. You know, just for example, diversity, I've been focusing on that in the last week, and there's been 2 major executive orders, and we don't do any type of affirmative action hiring, so that's not my concern. But also it's very generally stated kind of diversity as a whole, and so if we list that anywhere as a goal or a positive result or a purpose of any of our programming, I just want to be in front of that and aware, you know, before we have any questions asked, so. And then we also have had some interesting issues with the DOT clearinghouse, mostly in public, but just a couple people in public works, and it's a whole process that we're required. If we have a CDL drivers, we're required to comply with the clearinghouse, and we've had some employees that basically were confused about the process and didn't have things put in place 4 to 5 years ago. So we're doing a little catch up, working almost daily with Alan on that, and I think we finally got a path forward, and we're going to be able to be compliant with that. That, just to be clear, that does not affect Riley County as an employer. It's individual CDLA licenses. And then I did have a kind of a conversation or a request, a suggestion about communication. You'll remember last week we talked about having the idea that how do we know what's happening in the committees, how many committees are there, how do we know ahead of time? And so one of the ideas was to first of all get an ideal list of all the committees at Riley County, and then potentially do some sort of minutes, agendas, overview report. I wanted to see what other commissioners thought about that communication.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and so I don't, you know, the question was supposed how many committees or work, I mean, I use that word kind of overview, like work groups, you know, could be anything that we call it, but how many do we have? I don't know the answer, so I'll have to, you know, you can go through the departments and see who has those things.
Like, you know, in the department head meetings, there's, you know,
Yeah.
an agenda and then kind of just a summarized,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
of
sure.
what was discussed.
Yeah.
Like to see the same with like the budget and finance and the building committee and.
Yeah.
Just so if we have questions along the way, we can maybe take care of those and we don't have to address them so much so in the open
On
meeting.
budget and finance, that's easy because Brittany does a great job on those. So it's just a matter of sending them to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all the other offshoot committees is the ones we haven't thought as much about, and then we can do that.
But truthfully, in my experience, I think they're all fairly, the ones that I've seen and participated in are having minutes come out. They're doing notes of some sort, you know, like Michelle's group just with the onboarding, it had really nice minutes put together. We just need to put them, send them out, you know, so we'll work on coordinating that.
Sounds good.
All right, anything else that commissioners have questions about or would like to know more about, anything from the personnel side?
I'd say those capers things are, because when my wife retired teaching, we both went to several times,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of options and stuff to look at.
There are,
And like I say, start a few years ahead of time and try to
Yes.
figure out how you want to do those things. So there
Yeah.
are.
that's what we've been trying to tell people is even if you're not sure, it's okay. Michelle put in the announcement, if you're thinking of or dreaming of retirement, and so she had someone that, I mean, is a Capers 3 and under 30 and wanted to attend, and she's like, yeah, not dreaming that far,
Yeah.
like that's, you know.
But like I say, we started a couple of years. before
Yes.
she started going to this, because the state through the schools was
Yes.
putting some out, and we went to, because there is a lot of information in those things that you don't understand, you know.
I
You
agree,
don't just go, oh, I'm done.
yes, I agree.
There's options of how to do it and everything.
It's a lot of information and then every person is specialized, yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, we had to go to a couple to keep, because we
That's
went
good
to one and
advice.
went, that didn't make sense. And so the next time we had to had more questions. for them,
Yes, yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah, we always send employees directly to talk to a Capers person who can talk about their specific case, but they always end up back kind of in Michelle's office going through over the details, and she hears that a lot. Well, that didn't make sense, and so, yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, on those lunch and learns, Gary Pike did one
Mm.
last year
Yeah.
on the 457Bs and investing, and you know, I'm a big fan of those for employees to educate them on, you know, preparing financially, and Gary did a great job. And so the commission knows, you know, we provided lunch, so those things do have a cost to them, but I think it's well worth it. Just like staff had asked me about this, and I said, well, let's do something to help entice to get people there, because I think it's really important. And understand the thing about 30 dreaming, but it's really, the sooner people start thinking about that stuff, the better.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's still, I think as soon as you start on capers, you get on capers now, isn't it?
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah, cause back when I got on, you didn't get the first year. So
Right.
my second year, I immediately bought back, and we we're continually trying to educate people, buy that back sooner rather than later, because it's cheaper based on your salary. And so I'm a huge fan of those. Michelle knows I visit with her a lot about her activity on the capers committee, because capers 3 is not near the benefit that I and your wife have on capers 1. And my
Janice
wife
too.
Oh, she's on 2? Okay.
Because she left, she worked there and then left for a few years and then went back, and it was too long with delays. So
Well,
she got put in two.
Gotcha. So then like my wife and I are on capers 1, which is a much better benefit than capers 2 and 3. And so I'm really pushing for Michelle to try and get them to go more towards the capers 1, because that is a primary recruiting tool, commissioners, if people are educated about it well. And I just can't emphasize enough how important that is for long-term employment and financial preparation.
And Capers 2 is also, is reasonable.
Oh, yeah.
Capers 3 is not as much of an incentive. It's very similar to any employer out in the community.
Well, and there's been talk at the state about doing away with 3, just rolling everybody back into 2. They're hearing so many complaints
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, and Michelle has actually participated in that. She's testified for that as well. So I think keeping abreast of that and telling people what we're experiencing on the ground is important. Yeah.
One question, because you said that the onboarding committee we heard several times on evaluations, we need one specifically for department heads.
And mentoring.
And, you know, that, have you started looking into something? I think you were there.
Yes, yeah, I was there, yeah, yep, and I brought that actually back around, we had that exact conversation, so Diane Creek is on this committee, we asked her to participate as the health department. So she is not only new, but also a department head that kind of went through this, as well as, we have one other employee who's only been there a couple of months, and then some long-term employees. And so, yeah, we brought that whole idea of mentoring, and then the specific layers, like the department heads, supervisors, entry-level employees might need a little bit to look differently.
Different things.
Yeah.
It's like we had several people say,
Yes,
we need help, you know, some
Yeah.
department heads that are new, and we've had several new ones, and
yes,
I don't know, you know, hopefully we don't have any real soon, but I know we got one coming up the end of next year.
yeah, we will have a couple more in the next couple of years, but.
All right.
Okay, good. Great. So the second part is I would like to ask to request to fill our as needed HR position. You signed the employee action form this morning, but that position will become vacant next Wednesday. It is just become absolutely vital for us. It is the POC for all of our recruiting logistics. So does everything that has to do with opening and processing any position, a lot of records management. Hoping to find someone that part-time, 4 hours a day. It's gonna be great for her long term.
I didn't want to see if it 4 hours, I mean, it looks like 1,000 hours. But
Yeah. It's those as needed positions are limited to 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
And they don't have any benefits except those required by the state unemployment. So they've got a 7.65% benefit rate. Yeah.
I will hardly ever make a comment about any position requests like this, but I'm new enough that I can remember back to my interview, contact and onboarding process. And I can tell you, they did a heck of a job, right? But they were stretched when that person wasn't great. Do you know what I mean? And so I can personally attest to the need for this.
Well, I'd make a motion that the board approve the position of part-time HR clerical assistant for Raleigh County Clerk's Office.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the position of part-time HR clerical assistant in the clerk's office. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Olson, please sign, and then you have Amanda Webb at 9:15. Good looking, big.
Yeah.
Your blood pressure remaining low.
We're gonna solve all the problems today. Yeah. Hey, everybody have a good weekend.
You too.
Cats, go
Chief
Chiefs.
score.
32-29 Chiefs.
We'll get the rest later.
Yeah, okay.
Gee, I suggested that and I forgot about it.
Ready for Amanda, commissioners?
Man, oh, there. That's not a man.
Playing the part of Amanda today.
She's my stand-in today.
Okay,
All right. Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Webb, Planning Director. Thanks, Vivian, for putting my report on the screen. So just running through Planning and Development's January 2025 staff update. I will start with Keats as I do. I have all kind of, the information that's been going on these last while. I'm just kind of leaving that in the in your report there, so you can kind of see some of the history and some of what we're doing. For the Kansas Water Office, the technical assistance grant that we were already awarded, that's been running along just fine. I just submitted the third quarterly grant report at the end of January as required, so waiting for reimbursement on that, but that one is going along just fine. The other Kansas Water Office grant, the water projects that we applied for way back in summer last year, they are still working to wade through all of the applications they received and have not made announcements yet. It sounds like there was a lot more technical information they were running through. We had our meeting with Widow Bryans earlier this week, and they were just saying that there was more technical information they asked for that they wanted to review, kind of seeing what the projects were, how ready they were, all of the little bit more in-depth information. So they've just been running through all of that. So at this point, I don't know when those awards are going to be announced. I've talked to the staff over the last few months there, and usually it's we're hoping in the next few weeks. So as soon as I know, I'll let everybody know. But as of right now, we don't have information as to who's been awarded yet. USDA, the rural development funding we're working on, I've heard nothing about, if anything's pausing with that or if there's any issues. So I am proceeding as usual. We have a little bit more information to get to USDA Austin over there. But we have found out, and again, thanks to Brian and his office, user agreements are not required. They don't need individual user agreements from each property owner. So that just saves a lot of time. With that. So there's just a little bit more that we are internally working on in terms of connection fees and fee information that we're getting over to USDA. And then we should have everything ready for them so they can complete their underwriting and then let us know what our grant loan split's going to look like and all those parameters. And again, we're just going to knock on wood that everything is going to go ahead smoothly with that. And we're just proceeding business as usual. So, I think that was it with Keats. Does anybody have questions about anything with Keats before I move on? Okay. Our comprehensive plan amendment or update that we're working on, we're really excited that we're able to get kicked back off with Stantec. The Comp Plan Committee met yesterday, and I was very happy to see we had a good group in person. There was a good group virtually as well. I think we probably had about 25 to 30 people of the committee, so that's really good. And then I received messages from a few others, apologies, I can't attend, or, but I'm still interested. So I'm just really glad, after the little bit of unexpected hiatus we had, that people are still interested. People still want to be a part of it. I made sure they knew that all of the work they've done so far, we're still going to use it. We still have it. It's still going to be integrated into the plan. And now we're just kind of jumping off from that point with our consultant. So Stantec staff just kind of gave a PowerPoint, a presentation of, what they're looking at. They talked about the schedule, next steps forward, how everybody's gonna, be integrated in there. We'll have some more community outreach workshops and whatnot in April. They'll also they're working on an existing conditions study, which is basically just telling us where we are right now. What's our population right now? What's our land use capacities? What's happening right now? So we know kind of where we are and base it on where we need to go. So they're working on all of that. We've encouraged the subcommittees to get meeting again. So we're getting back into it. So really, really happy for that. And I'll have a more in-depth update for you folks at the end of the month as I do. The Rural Economic Development Advisory Board, REDAB, as of course you folks know, that was transferred from Extension to Planning and Development. And we had our first 2025 meeting on January 15th. We have our monthly meetings the third Wednesday of every month at 3 o'clock. So we're working on our mission and direction. So what we talked about at the January meeting was inviting each of the 3 commissioners to, of course, separate meetings over the next few months, just to talk to us about, what you're seeing for this board's mission, what you're thinking economic development wise, et cetera. So I'd love to, and I know Commissioner Ford had to go, but I'd love to, while I have you guys, if it's okay, and you have available to your calendars, I'd love to get you all scheduled for one of the next 3 meetings, basically. So I have February 19th, March 19th, and April 16th available. So if you guys wouldn't mind, if you do it now, great. If not, please just let me know what your availability is so I can get you on the agenda, and we can get you wrapped into that invitation, because the advisory board was very excited to have you guys come and talk with them and just help with kind of the direction and mission. So those are the 3 big. I'm sorry.
What time are they?
They are at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got something else going on those days, but probably 3 o'clock works.
Amanda, if you could individually send those dates and times to the commissioners via email and get them signed up for one.
Yep.
John's not here and not everyone could write all that down, so
Yeah, no worries.
thank you.
Yep. I can absolutely do that. I'll just make a note real quick. Okay, so I'll get that taken care of. Moving along, let's see, what time am I at? The LEPP grant, everything's going along okay with that. We're still kind of working on opening the second round of those applications, just based on the 2 awardees from the first round. One is already completed. The second, of course, with the winter and the weather and other delays, she should be working on things in the next few weeks. So we'll have that information. But I also talked to KDHE for maybe some ideas about how we can get the second round open without quite knowing the exact dollar figure. So we'll be getting that information out in the next few days, because I really want to open that second round and get the rest of that funding allocated to folks who need it. And then, as you remember, we applied for the next year's round of LEPP funding that would go from July 2025 to June 2026. They got a lot of applications and they're waiting for their funding information, so they won't be announcing that for a while. So still waiting on input from that, but that is out there. The Solid Waste Management Committee, we were able to have, and I have a little picture in your report there. We were able to tour the household hazardous waste and noxious weed facilities last month. We probably had about half of our group there, half of the Solid Waste Management Committee group there, and they brought a few guests with them. Michael and Justin, just big thank you to both of them for the great tour that they gave us. They're, obviously very excited and passionate about what they do. And that is a great facility out there. If you haven't had a chance to get out there, I encourage it. Again, great facility, great resource we have in this community that's probably not overly known sometimes. It's one of those things a lot of people probably don't know about, and it's just an excellent resource that we have, and they do a great job out there. So her committee members who were able to attend were just really appreciative, really positive about the experience. And I have a few folks on the committee who weren't able to attend, who, you know, expressed, yeah, shoot, I wasn't able to attend, you know, and I said, just get a hold of Michael and he'll take you around. So we were really happy to be able to do that. Just a few other items. The Riley County Planning Board, the majority of our members at this point are pretty new. So we had our longest tenured member is 4 years now. So we had a discussion with them at our January meeting just about, you know, just some different things, you know, different packet delivery, things like that. Would they be willing to or interested in or able to, you know, change the meeting time? Because we met at 7:30 for a very long time, which can get pretty late pretty quick. If we have a couple of things on the agenda or something contentious, we can be there till, you know, pretty late, and it gets pretty fast. So they were, when we left it completely up to them, we did not tell them, here's what we think you should do. Here's the time we're proposing. We said, would you like to do this? And they said yes, and they agreed on 7 o'clock. So we went from 7:30 to 7 o'clock, and I just want to make sure to, you know, mention that here, because again, that is a change in time, just a little bit, but it's still a change in time that we want to make sure people are aware of, you know, for coming to the meetings. And of course, we're making people aware when we send out the packet and send out that information that now we are meeting that half hour earlier at 7 o'clock. Same time, same location, or same day, same location, second Monday of every month. They'll start taking place at 7 o'clock p.m. right there where you folks are sitting. So let's see. And then the only other thing I want to mention is on Monday, we're going to have a discussion about short-term rental regulations. We talked a few weeks ago about if you want to talk more about them. Because if you remember during the KAC conference in December, when our little county breakouts were discussing, STRs were brought up, and we got some information from a city in Missouri. So we'll just have a conversation to see if you folks want to make any changes to the code, you know, and you know, everything else that kind of goes with that. So that's what we have coming up on Monday. And then there's a few other things coming up that we talked about. I just haven't gotten scheduled with you folks yet, just kind of trying to find time, because I'm going to need that assistance from some of my other staff and just kind of fitting that in. So I think that's the extent of my report, but I'm happy to answer any questions or do any research, bring anything back for you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Get well.
Thank you.
I'm glad I didn't sit by you yesterday afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have a good weekend. Yeah, commissioners, next you have Anna Burson at 9:30. Your microwave ready? Yeah. And I had that comp plan meeting yesterday afternoon at the shop, so glad I didn't sit by her.
That's something that there's legislation the state's working on now. It's gonna shift teachers from 3 to 2 K-2s. Only that. Only two
That's a good
teachers.
first step, though, then they'll just do it for everyone eventually. They need to, it needs to be a better benefit
It says
for everyone.
if they went retired at 60 to 30 years of service, under 3, they receive 26 to 36,000. Under 2, they'd have 45,000 a year. So there is quite a bit of difference there.
There is for sure.
Over there, go.
Yep, all right.
Good morning, Commissioners. Anna Burson with the Riley County Appraiser's Office. I'm just here to provide you with our monthly staff report. Personal property side, our team's actively setting values and updating ownership records on all personal property within Riley County. Obviously, when those, if they brought a rendition in or they contact us about a change, we're getting that information updated as well. Our personal property team's been assisting a lot with residential related things this year. On our ag use side, ag use delineation's been completed for all returned agricultural use maps from last year. This year, our agricultural appraiser will conduct reviews of properties in ag use that did not submit a map, ensuring updates are made accordingly. And so that'll be the discovery of anything that's not been in ag use, not in ag use, could result in potential change in classification. Additionally, there's going to be 272 agricultural properties that are scheduled for their annual reinspection. For 2025, dry crop values are experiencing a decrease, while native grass, tame grass, pasture, and rangeland values are seeing an increase. On the residential side, as a reminder, sales validation has been on hold since we began in modeling in October. January saw a total of 19 sales when we last ran this report, including 14 residential homes, with a median sale price of approximately $225,000 and an average sale price of $290,935. Staff have completed all review of all the building permits, and property records have been updated accordingly. The 2025 annual review phase will commence soon as we are finalizing values. This year's reinspection plan includes 2,982 properties, consisting of 2,161 residential home sites, 196 vacant properties. The team's finalizing year-end data, running reports, setting values, conducting payment under protest hearings. You'll probably see a few more trickle in over the next couple of weeks. The hearings have been held, but it's going to take a minute to wrap those up as we're trying to focus on getting those values set. The commercial team is in the final stages of income analysis and wrapping up payment under protests. This year, 353 commercial and exempt properties are due for annual reinspection. The updated BOTA spreadsheet is attached for your reference, and I'm going to just kind of slide to that really quick just to point out a couple things for you. One of the biggest things, and I will look at that color next time I post this for you, but there's 235,851,120 in pending BOTA cases. This number is down substantially from where it has been in prior years, and I'm happy to report another $55,469,100 is coming off of that total. So the outstanding pending BOTA cases will be $180,382,020. The four that are highlighted in green have dismissed. So you won't see a change order on any of that. The cases have been dismissed. So very happy to report that information. Kind of while I'm on that topic, on things that are pending. Not something we typically have reported on, but I think it's important as we're getting into setting values. To let you know that there are 29 pending BOTA cases, exemption pending BOTA cases. So basically, these are applications that have been sent to the Board of Tax Appeals in the last 2 years that we have not received decisions on. And so what that looks like is approximately 31,843,000 for 23 and 37,667,000 for 24. And I won't have the numbers for you for 25, but these are cases that have been sent to the Board of Tax Appeals to make those decisions as it relates to exemption. And so when those decisions come down, that is value that will not be taxable. So I just think it's important to have that information as we're getting into setting values and seeing, as things change. in the coming year. Additionally, it looks like we had about 48 payment under protests as it relates to 2024 values. Of which 32 were residential. Again, we are wrapping those up. Most of those hearings have been held with the property owners, and we should get results letters out in the next couple weeks. We just have had to shift focus to final review. Additional things, the 2025 valuation process, as I said, finalizing values in preparation for mailing change of value notices. I will be on press conference Monday to provide the trend information to the public. Additionally, it'll publish in the paper on Tuesday. It'll be available on the trend itself will be published on our website Monday. And so I'll have all of that information for you guys on Monday. Everything so far is a positive trend. I mean, we're seeing a positive trend for the most part across the county. Additionally, other projects that have kind of come up this past month that I've been involved in, the legislative session, that's been a really big one. I attended the local government day in Topeka a couple weeks back, as well as the KCAA legislative reception, just to try to help educate senators, House representatives on impact of some legislation, really on our taxpayers, because that's who it's going to affect the most. There was a big debate on Senate. It's unfortunate how much information seems to be missed, or how much misunderstanding there is from our leaders as it pertains to what we do and how we do our jobs. And so all we can do is continue to try to educate, which is what I've been doing this last month. I'm having conversations with House representatives and senators, just trying to keep them informed, and that's all we can do. Additionally, some of the bigger bills, SCR 1603, the valuation cap, we've all talked about that. The Senate Bill 10, which is the personal property tax exemption. I think you guys are also aware of that one as it pertains to several items of personal property, like your boats, your trailers under 15,000, some different items. And so we'll just see what happens in legislation with those items. And then also have been involved in RHID discussions, community land trust discussions and groups, and KSA 791613 discussions. Working on obviously updating some position descriptions and posting those as soon as we can. But those are some of the other projects that I've been involved in this last month, and we'll continue. Do you guys have any questions about any of the information that I've shared this morning? Okay, well, thank you. Have a
good weekend, Anna.
Thank you. You too.
Commissioners, Mr. Parker is up at 9:45. Not if two or more of you choose to advance it.
We can advance it. If you're ready.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna say last minute preparations over there.
I mean, it's the last deal.
Last
It
copy,
is.
right?
It's just an
That's right.
update. It's not a controversial issue unless he may invite us on that.
He'll stir something out.
Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, commissioners, I have nothing that I think could possibly stir any pot.
Good.
I really don't have much to update the commission on at this time that the commission's not already aware of through other agenda items. And we're just continuing to plug away. And so with that, I'll just stand for any questions.
But you had something you were gonna talk about.
Oh,
I don't know what, but there was something you said you didn't talk about.
Nuisance abatement maybe, or
well, there was nuisance. There was nuisance abatement, and then I was going to. Now that you mention it, Commissioner, it's nagging at me that I do think there was something I was planning on bringing up here, but it could have been some of the legislative items that we discussed at the last
County
commission.
officials lunch.
Oh, yes, yes.
See,
I didn't
even at
see-
his age, he has too many taskbars.
That's-
open.
Commissioner, thank you for bringing that up.
I knew it was an email somewhere, but.
Yeah, yes, and I'll touch base separately with Commissioner Ford about this. We, as you know, our office generally helps with scheduling county officials luncheons. And making sure we have them. We've been having them quarterly over the last year. And I think one of the reasons why it didn't come to mind is that I brought up topics for the next county officials luncheon at department head meeting. I mean, it's regularly scheduled as a discussion point on department head meeting agenda. And then during my comments, I kind of brought back to it. I said, well, I understand that the budget's probably going to be the subject of the next county officials luncheon meeting. But also if there's other things that's a great way for commissioners to point out the things that are on their mind that we can discuss as a county and get everybody's input on. That's really the whole purpose behind the officials luncheon, is for anything that's on any commissioner's mind to bring up there and we can have a discussion about it. And so the first thing I wanted to mention is scheduling. Have one, we've maintained having them on the books for every month so that it's up to the commission to schedule when the next one would be. I believe it would be somewhere early March. March 10th is the date that sticks in my mind, but I think that could be the next one that was available for scheduling. That we still have, even though, because we've kept them at a monthly time period so that we would just have a place marker. But really my two questions would be, and we don't need to answer them today, is do we want to have the one in March? And then in addition to the budget, what else would we like to talk about? And so I wanted to bring that up and get the ball rolling now so we have plenty of time.
It used to be every month.
Yeah, traditionally, we did have them every month. It was, I think, about the time Commissioner Ford came on, or halfway through that term, that we weren't having many topics and, so they decided to go quarterly, and this commission has kind of enjoyed having them quarterly. And when we did them quarterly, the commissioners also, I think another subject that needs to be broached is provide lunch at them or not, if we go more frequently. And next, another item I know at least Commissioner Ford wanted brought up was what I had discussed yesterday at the department head meeting, because he's been frustrated with it. As the commission, we had an open meeting discussion here about employees, including department heads, but other employees enjoying their time off and not responding to emails and texts after work hours, that unless it's an emergency, there's no need in doing that. So, to enjoy their time away from here and not do that. And part of that is training on his and my part and our counterparts, the department heads and commissioners, not to send those texts and emails when it's something that can wait. But a lot of us, because we have so many tabs open in our head, when we think about it, we fire it off. But then good
I don't
employees,
expect a response, but I won't remember to do it the next
good
morning.
employees, feel obligated, especially if it's a commissioner or their department head. I need to respond. And a lot of I'm the same way. And so I was going to tell Commissioner Ford, oh, you're going to start carrying a notepad and a pen with you, because they do. Employees feel obligated, or they want. Commissioners, you'd be amazed the percentage of our staff that are completely bought in and take their job very seriously and pride in it and want to get things done. Yeah. And so they are there to be responsive to all of us, because they take huge responsibilities on our jobs. And so he wanted to have some of that dialogue, because he had several one weekend and he was frustrated with it, although he was the one sending the emails, and he said, I'm just doing it to get off my mind. So I think that'd be a good discussion.
But is quarterly still good enough, or do the department heads want them more often?
We didn't have any topics at the last one. Yesterday, no one brought any topics. We still asked, the good thing about it being on there to ask is if there is something, then it's already on everyone's calendar in case, we just cancel them if they're not.
Okay.
But it's whatever the board
Because
prefers.
it's still on there every month, that's why but I understand this. So
Yeah, we used to regularly hold them monthly. We did.
And if department heads have things they want to bring up, that's fine, or even, to have them bi-monthly instead of
Sure.
The first commission I served with Bob Newsom, Mike Kearns and Al Johnson, and it was Bob Newsom. He demanded that we meet monthly. He said, if we don't have something business wise to talk about, then what are we doing? So he demanded, and he would have people bring topics and whatever, but that's what they wanted. That's what that commission wanted.
I think from my perspective, right, and I agree with everything that Rich has said, right? Not that I generally disagree with anything that Rich says, but I wanted to endorse all of that, right? And also state that I think some of the utility behind keeping kind of a placeholder, right? But then only doing it, on a quarterly, or it could be bi-monthly, whatever the commission decides, but, or even as needed, right? What it does, and I just wanted to do a better job from my department's perspective of bringing it up and saying, hey, we need with enough advance time so that the commission has the ability to set, say, okay, and then we can get everybody, let everybody know that, yeah, we are gonna have one this month, right? We could entertain keeping it kind of at the quarterly level, but then if something comes up, I'll just try to remember to regularly ask the commission and say, hey, we have this placeholder. Do we need to have a county officials luncheon this month to advance something forward? That's basically, this discussion is more about making sure that I'm doing my job as the entity that helps schedule, right? If you guys did want to have a meeting, when would you like the next one to be scheduled? Does that make sense? Or am I clear as mud? So.
That's one, unless they had something that comes up, I didn't know if they wanted more often, and I was saying, it doesn't hurt to have everybody together, even if there's no specific topic, just to get together. But I understand department heads do that every month already, right?
We do, but I think it's because we have it up as a placeholder in 2 locations. It's on your agenda every month as a placeholder to ask the commissioners if for any reason they want to, but it's also on our department head meetings agenda every 2 weeks. Is we ask, is there anything that this group wants to specifically meet with the commissioners? So it's a placeholder in a couple spots, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And if there is something pressing, and you never know, this year could be, depending on what legislature does to us budget wise, budgets next week, but it may get real serious with budgets a month later because of some law they passed. And so it may be necessary, and the commissioners may want to. A lot of times during budgets, a good portion of the department heads are here, but it's a good opportunity for all the department heads to hear a consistent message from this board on which direction you want them to go. So I think and I'm fine with changing it too, that it's pretty good now. I think Brian is going to be very cognizant of being more forward, more proactive, and seeking out items ahead of time rather than last minute. And so I appreciate that.
Well, I wouldn't have, if we have more often, because they have a problem, because I'm not gonna say a problem, because they have something they want to talk about, that's fine. I don't want to say, no, I'm not gonna do it till next. I'm gonna do it quarterly. I mean, quarterly is a minimum, I guess, is what I think.
And that's how I've looked at the
And
quarterly
if
thing.
something else, something's come up before that they want to discuss, or if we come up with something that we want to discuss.
Absolutely.
I always wonder why it's on there and we don't do it, but that does make sense.
Yeah, we did have them regularly, and that previous commission, probably my first 2 or 3 demanded we meet every month. Even though we had the formalized department head meeting at that time as well.
No, I think that's fine. If they just, like I say, keep that, if there's something, something they or us want to do it, we need it more often, sometimes that's fine too.
Would you want to keep it on as a placeholder then every month?
Yeah, I think, go ahead and keep, it brings it up on our tentative agenda going, oh yeah, that's coming up, but we got anything to discuss?
That makes sense, and because we haven't had one yet this year, then we would have, for the quarterly, we would have the one in March. And we'll of course have the budget on there, but also anything else that the commission brings up that the commission can think of to be in discussion. And I think the other thing that I would point out, and I don't mean to give undue praise, but I will say to both the commission's credit and staff's credit, I think one of the reasons why our organization I mean, this is my view as a new person, but one of the reasons why we've gone, why we haven't had the need necessarily to have them every month is that we have been doing a really good job. There's been such professionalization of the process of saying, okay, if there's something that's affecting a department, we're gonna have the department head have a work session on it. That's formally scheduled in the governing body. And so a lot of the things that would be required to be brought up at a, county officials luncheon, they're going through already our administrative process. And this is just my own personal view, but I view the county officials luncheon as saying, okay, now we have a topic that is not cleanly housed in one department. And we want to try to develop some consensus moving forward between the commission and the department heads. Let's chat about it. So. All right, well then I'll continue to try to bring them up and we'll plan on the one for March. And commissioners, if you have any, both during, our meeting or something comes to mind, just let me know. And we'll make sure it gets on there. Okay. I didn't have anything else.
Okay.
Thank you. Managed to find a way to talk for 10 minutes anyway.
You were kind of pushed into it though, so.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, thank you for.
Like I said, I thought there'd been something, but I couldn't.
I thought when you mentioned it, I was like, yeah, there has been something, and why can't I not remember this? So. I do have too many tabs open.
I'm one of the oldest.
So you're too young.
That trouble.
That's right.
You have a birthday?
Yeah, yesterday was my birthday.
Happy
birthday.
1 year older. So absolutely.
1 year older in a day. How's that happen?
I know, right?
You're still young.
I am blessed that way.
Numbers. Well, I did have a couple of things.
Mhm.
Couple things that have been discussed that's gonna come up someday but haven't. Those RHID guidelines, they've got us their first public meeting, whatever it's been, then we have 30 days, so we need to have those figured out. And I think last time we but we need to go ahead and formalize them so that we're ready.
We'll get that on the
I'm still
agenda.
getting calls of people
Want to get
promoting
together,
those to
yeah.
me.
Lobbying,
Yeah, lobbying, yes.
we'll get another work session scheduled. There have been minor changes.
It seemed like there was a few minor things,
Mhm.
we're just reviewing them, but want to have that in place so we've got them ready when they.
Jacob's been
Jacob's
doing a great job of drafting those for us, and the budget and planning committees met on it every time since. And so, yeah, matter of fact, we had that question yesterday at the department head meeting, didn't we?
Yeah,
The same thing. What's the is that scheduled? Was the question. Brittany goes, no. So we'll get it on there.
And the other one, which it's a minor thing, but some reason I was looking at the budget, what was it, the reserve on the CIP that needed to be moved over
Yes.
to the other one, he had said it just needs to be something brought to us.
Yep. We'll do that as well.
I said, can we just do that? He said, well, no, it needs to be.
Formal action from you
formal
guys.
Action, so.
Yeah. For the radios, that's what it was.
Yeah, for the radios.
I remember that discussion. We'll get them both before you.
Well, and then the urgent, important things. I'll go 24, 21.
Ooh, you were close to me.
Oh, I said, I think it's gonna be low.
You
score.
prices righted me.
Oh, did
On
I?
both. On both.
What was John's 20?
32-29.
I had a number. And what was your number?
Secret. No, he pressurized me on both. Mine's 23-20. So he really did. Prices right me on both.
Wow.
I already had it written down before, after actually Commissioner Ford's.
27.25.
Brian,
I'm gonna go 35-33. And I just want to say, I think every number that's been thrown out by people is very realistic.
Mhm.
Right? It's hard to pick a number after I heard everybody else's.
Well, my logic, and probably along with Greg's, is, it'll be tied 20-20 with 1 second on the clock, and we'll kick a field goal to win it. It's how their whole season is gone.
Yeah.
The last
Yeah.
drive.
I need to watch those.
It'll be
I'm sure
about a
kinda like-
55 to 60 yarder.
Yeah.
There's been some weird stuff in
And
the
a tip pole and
playoffs.
down.
Yeah, probably so.
It's 2 point things.
That would be
really
too apropos for the season.
Which that's kind of like the men's game basketball game the other night. Yeah. He
Two
missed
missed free throws.
Yeah.
17-year-old kid.
Oh, was that a freshman? No.
He's one of 2 Division I NCAA basketball players that are not of age to where they could go to the NBA draft immediately.
Oh,
Him and
really?
only one other person.
Huh.
And that was, I heard Tang's comments on Reddit. He said that's a pressure situation for a 17-year-old.
It is, yeah.
And that's the only reason I knew that. But I'd heard him talking the day before about the 2 youngest players in Division I basketball, and that they had one. And so that's.
I remember they was talking about one of their players was 17, but I didn't realize that's who that was.
To be, that's impressive. I'll bet he was up all night long shooting free throws. We had a player that did that, Gibson. My son was actually friends with Gibson when he was here at K-State, and it was a away game. For some reason, I'm almost thinking a West Virginia game, and he missed several free throws and clutch free throws at the end of the game for us to win it. And he did just on his own. Came back, got off the plane, and stayed up all night shooting free throws. And from that day on, he was much better the rest of the season.
Wow.
Saying there's no more business, I would make a motion to adjourn the February 6th meeting of the Board of Raleigh County Commissioners.
Second, and moved and seconded to adjourn the February 6th meeting of the Raleigh